And good morning, everybody. We are now broadcasting. Welcome to the executiveroundtable.org as well. Jerry Latrento, I'm going to kick it off to you. You're going to give your opening thoughts of wisdom, and then you're going to kick it off to Brett for the questions for Angela. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, welcome everybody to what I think we can call the next normal. We've been operating in this kind of environment for the last almost now 10 weeks, and so I guess the thing I would say today is don't assume that the old ways are coming back. Digitalization and tech modernization have been going on for quite a while, but I think if somebody can mute out, I'm just getting a little feedback, Carlos. I think where things are headed further is more of a distributed workforce. I think we've seen through this whole COVID crisis that we can continue to interact like we're doing on these calls. I get a lot out of these. I know a lot of other business leaders do. And it's just about continuing education and obviously, innovation. One thing I have to say on behalf of Bank United and a real concept that we've embraced and adopted is that of agility. I think people, point to waterfall management and organizational structures. That clearly has transitioned. We are now in the new agile environment. It's all about empowerment. It's about speed. And I think you'll hear that from a number of the business leaders today. Just an example, through this crisis, Bank United stood up a platform for PPP that literally we stood up in almost 4 days. We did over $1 billion. And most importantly, we saved over 100,000 jobs. I think that's a tangible example of the agile environment, basically reallocating resources. We took 130 people, redeployed them into that work, and really took care of our client base, which I know I'm proud of, as many as our business leaders are. I think you'll hear from Rick Conley specifically on this at Gravity Resources, and that is, the jobs that traditionally we think of are going to have to redeploy into new jobs, and so much of that is beginning to shift. I think this crisis has really accelerated that. And, that of automation, we were touching on earlier, AI and IoT. When you combine AI, IoT, quantum computing, and 5G when it's fully deployed, which obviously it isn't, we're going to have a dramatically new economy. And so digitization and automation examples right now, the automobile industry actually has virtual showrooms. I think many of us that went to Starbucks through this crisis, saw their contactless experience. Really, companies that are going to succeed, and this includes many in the restaurant businesses, are going to have a digital journey from beginning to end that is a different paradigm from what we've had. So I guess the thought I wanted to leave everybody with this morning, Carlos, is we have to adopt digital strategies and solutions, rethink organizational structures, and kind of restructure operations so that we can really, be able to pivot through this transition, not just with COVID, but what was already going on with digitization. Because clearly the companies that came into this that didn't have a plan of attack have suffered and will obviously, continue to suffer until they shift into that new paradigm. So those are just some thoughts I wanted to share around what many call the fourth industrial evolution. We've talked about it before.
On audio, see if you can join us on video, please. We promise not to make any comments about your shorts or your beards. So David Ralph, thank you and welcome back to the roundtable. Last time we saw you, we were at a nice country club somewhere in Deering Bay, I think. How are banks becoming more agile, my friend?
Well, that's a great question, especially now where we see that that COVID has accelerated digital adoption by about 5 years. Jerry mentioned that Bank United implemented our PP program in a matter of days. We went from wet signatures on paper and branches to digital signatures in a matter of a couple of weeks, and then a pretty much 100% remote workforce situation within about a week. Bank United, we were a little bit ahead of the curve as we've been on an agile transformation journey for about a year and a half. And this remote situation has really accelerated that mindset that's needed in your leaders and in your organization. what I've seen so far, just in the last couple months, is we started with less communication, but more dialogue. People playing out of position, and it's been a benefit. People swimming a little bit out of their swim lanes. That's a very agile mindset. Team self-organizing. Managers, employees moving from like checking up on people to checking in on people. People have been kind of empowered to unlock their collaborative building capabilities, and we've been working on teaching that over the last year and a half through Agile transformation. And what we're seeing is people innately, even without necessarily the training, are doing this. So this is starting to come out. New rituals are developing. Another thing too that I want to emphasize is the speed of delivery has really accelerated within the bank. The business lines in the bank have accepted an MVP approach, and MVP is a minimum viable product. So instead of waiting for IT, to deliver a perfect solution for that solution to emerge, they're involved in the design phases. So we have this new sense of collaboration, and the question now that we're asking is, how, we've been doing this to survive, but how do we maintain this, not simply to survive, but to thrive, as we move into this new world of distributed work? So those are the questions we want to answer now, is how do we maintain this?
Great presentations today. A lot of value in a lot of the comments. So much of it great context for not only what we're going through, but looking ahead in what I'm going to just continue to call the next normal. It's not new normal, it's now normal and next normal. So